Let me put up another channel up here. I have two monitors, so I wanted to see myself on the other screen as
Okay.
well. Yeah, but let me see here. We'll wait for some people to come into the chat here. It takes a little while for people to come in.
It's all right.
Let me see here. I'm going to show you. Here is, let's see here. Here we go. This is going to be cool. Let me show you what it looks like, Eddie. There we go. See, you have us right here.
Yeah.
See how we have it set up right there. I just pulled up my YouTube channel. All right, so let me put this right here. Okay, so we don't have anyone in the chat yet. Okay, got one person watching, which is myself. Let me just put this as large like that. Okay, cool. All right. Well, anyway, we can talk a little bit as we're waiting for people to come in.
Good.
So
Cool.
it looks like the weather is pretty nice out. Yeah, it. You know what's really interesting is that a lot of people have a fascination about going to Colombia. Now, the place that you're at right now, it's outside of Medellin, right?
Yeah, it's about a 40-minute drive on the in a car or on a motorcycle from this point where I'm living, just to let's say downtown Medellin. It's a
Uh
good
huh.
35, 40-minute ride.
Oh wow, that's cool. That's nice. And you can take a bus too if you don't have a car.
Yeah, yeah. Here, I mean, from the country house, you can walk down to the highway, about a 15-minute walk, 20 depending where you are situated here in the mountain, or even 30-minute walk. And
Uh
then
huh.
there are always buses going into the city here in this area, because this is Oriente Antioqueño, East
Uh huh.
Antioquia. And
Antioquia.
yeah, Antioquia, that's the name of this state, or as they call it here, department. So there are always buses from the other municipalities, the other towns like Rio Negro, El
Uh huh.
Peñol, or Guatapé, or even coming from Bogota, because
Oh
this is the
really?
Medellin Bogota highway down there. The Medellin Bogota highway is about a kilometer down, one click down.
Oh wow. Well, hey, Pocket Changing. Here's one of my moderators. This guy, Pocket Changing. Good morning. How you doing today? Hey, so that's pretty interesting. You can actually, so you're is Antioquia, is Medellin considered part of Antioquia?
Yeah, it's like saying California is the state or the department, as they call it here.
Uh
And
huh.
so Antioquia is, let's compare it to California. Los
Yeah.
Angeles is in California, Medellin
Yeah.
is in Antioquia.
Antioquia. Okay. And how many states are there in Colombia?
Well, that's a good question. I always forget. I used to be a history buff
Yeah.
and geography, but I forgot. I think something between 26 and 32, but I don't remember well.
Okay. Yeah. No worries. Yeah. That's cool. I've never been to Colombia. I have remember talked to you about my friend that was a class. Well, she wasn't in my graduating class, but she was a year younger than me, and she was adopted. Hey, there we are. We have Scuff, CM Reaper, firm handshakes all around. Yeah. Scuffed, are you still in Colombia right now? Are you in Cartagena? He's the one that runs the Top Shelf Travel Network.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
hear
Yeah.
about Scuff. Yeah, I forgot the name of the channel
Scuff
he
CM
uses.
Reaper. Yeah. SSR.
The SSR. There we go. SSR. How are you?
SSR. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, my friend, like I was telling you, that she's from Colombia. She was born in Colombia, and then I don't know, somehow, I think her birth family abandoned her or something. So she ended up going into like uh, some type of foster care or adoption agency, and luckily she was adopted by an American woman who was teaching English in I think it was I don't know if it was Bogota, but it was the city I mentioned to you that she was born in, right? I think she may have been teaching in that area,
Villavicencio.
but
Villavicencio.
she was luckily she was actually raised by an American family. Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, Vicencio. Yeah, 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 yeah. And that's a pretty small town, right? Where she was born.
Yeah, it's a pretty small town from what I hear. I have never been there, but I know people that have gone.
Yeah,
And it is a small town, and it's colonial architecture and everything, cobble streets, stone cobble streets, and
yeah,
all of that.
yeah. Yeah, I think it's really interesting to go around and look at the different architecture in Colombia. I think everything's like kind of like colonial in a way. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are many towns here, and even Bogota has some areas that preserve that colonial architectural style.
Uh-huh. So Scuff Jim Repo said that he's in Cartagena. Wow. Have you been to Cartagena?
Yeah, I've
Have
been
you?
there like twice or three times in my life. It's very nice, but I haven't
Yeah.
gone in more than 10 years.
Wow. Yeah, yeah. I heard that it's a really beautiful place to visit because it's close to the ocean and everything, and you get a different vibe from being like say for example in Bogota or in Medellin because it's near the ocean, right?
Yeah, it's right there on the ocean. It's a coastal city. I mean, it's right there. You got the old city,
Yeah.
and you got the new part. The old city's the walled city's very romantic. It's right there
Uh-huh.
on the ocean, and you
Oh,
got the new part as well. All of it is
yeah.
right there on the ocean, beachfront, basically.
Oh, that's cool. Now, look, I'm kind of curious about you, Eddie. Now, you said were you born in the United States or were you born in Colombia?
I was born and raised in the States. I was born in Elmhurst, New York, and
Uh-huh.
then we moved down to South Carolina. I grew up there. My brother was born up in Rhode Island, state of
Yeah.
Rhode Island. So we
Uh-huh.
were born and raised in the States, my brother and I. I'm the only one that just decided to come down this way. But South Carolina slash New York City slash uh, Peach State, Atlanta, GA.
Oh yeah, Peachtree. So you're down in Georgia, huh? Wow, that's
I went to
interesting.
college there.
Oh, you went to college there? Yeah. How did you
Yeah,
like growing
college.
up how'd you like growing up in Elmhurst or New York?
It was the School of Hard Knocks, like the Jay-Z song, back as a teenager, because I spent my teens in Queens, and it was
Yeah,
no picnic, but it taught me to be tough and a fighter because I was always getting bullied by people down south and then
right.
in New York at the beginning. So it was a different mix from the South Carolina down yonder, up yonder thing.
So do you think you were picked on because you were you know, I guess was it just because of because I know a lot of times when I was picked on because I was different, I was Asian. I was one of the few Asian kids in my school. Was it because of your race or ethnicity, or you think it was just kids are mean in general?
I think mostly kids were being mean. There were a lot of bullies around. I mean, my
Yeah,
mom is super white, so
yeah,
and my dad is pretty much white. My
yeah,
mom
yeah.
looks like a German woman
Uh
because
huh.
her whole ancestry is German in
Yeah.
general and Spanish.
Uh huh.
So I don't think it was because of ethnicity because my
Yeah.
brother and I were pretty white
Right.
because of our parents. My mom is blue eyed, blonde haired, and my dad is just white with dark hair. So
Yeah.
it was just being bullies that they didn't like my energy, my vibe, being a nice kid, quiet, happy, whatever.
Right.
Because they were just wanted to pick on some people, and they picked on a few of us.
Right. That's too bad. I'm sorry to hear that. So that made you a tougher guy then. Kind of made you the person that you are now then, huh?
Yeah, New York was where I had the last straw that broke the camel's back.
Oh, really?
Decided to start fighting back,
Uh
doing
huh.
weights, exercise,
Yeah.
and just started fighting back instead of running.
Right. So you went and gotten bigger, huh? Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
Wow. Wow. So you went to school down in Georgia, you said, right? That's where you went to the university or college?
yeah, I went down to Georgia Southern University
Okay.
down in Statesboro, Georgia, 1 hour from Savannah on I-16.
Oh, awesome. And what did you do? Did you you studied to become a teacher? Is that what you did in education?
Oh no, I majored to party over there. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was undeclared, and just studied and partied most of the time. I
Uh-huh.
was because I was pretty much a bookworm when I was in high school and everything, but kind of like the Mr. Hyde part of me came out in college.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, wow. So what made you go back to Colombia, or had you been back to visit off and on?
Like every 3 or 4 years, we came here with our parents
Uh-huh.
to visit my granddad and my maternal granddad and my paternal grandma and
Okay.
family here
Yeah.
every 3 or 4 years, and I liked it. I liked it. And one day when I was 14, they sent me alone, and I
Uh-huh.
really loved it.
Oh, wow.
The atmosphere, the family vibe, the Christmas spirit in December. Colombian Christmas, December is something totally different from the States or Europe or many
Yeah.
countries that follow the Christian Catholic ways. So
Right.
I wanted to live here since I was 14. I wanted to stay, but my parents said, "No way, son. You're coming back and finishing school and going to college." I'm like,
Uh-huh.
"Okay,
So you listened to your parents, huh? And then and after
yeah."
you And then after you graduated and you were working in the United States and your parents decided to move down to Colombia, you decided, well, I guess I can come back there and live for a little while then, huh?
Oh no, my parents never moved back down here. Only my mom just came
Oh,
back in
okay.
December after 50 years.
Oh,
My
really?
dad's still up in Toronto, Canada,
Oh,
and
okay.
my brother is in Jersey.
Oh, wow. So you have just one other sibling, just your brother?
Yeah, he's younger than me, 2 years younger.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Who's taller, you or your younger brother?
I'm taller.
Okay. And how tall are you, Eddie? You look pretty tall.
Um, unless I've shrunk in the last few years, 6 feet tall, 6 feet and half an inch, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're good height then. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's good.
Yeah.
Now, I know that you live a very healthy lifestyle because in some of your videos you mentioned that you are a vegetarian, right? So you don't
Yes,
eat.
sir.
And how long have you been a vegetarian?
Uh, a little over 10 years now.
Wow. And what made you decide to become a vegetarian? That's cool.
Compassion for animal life, the dogs, the
Yeah, yeah.
cows that the neighbor has over there,
Okay.
cows next door, and all of that. Since I was a kid, I always loved animals and kind of threw up most of the meat I ate. When I would eat some meat, whatever
Yeah.
it was, I usually kind of like threw it up. And my mom
Right.
didn't force me, so she mostly gave me a lot of veggies and rice and
Uh-huh.
fruit and whatever meat I would eat. And I kind of had that inclination. And somebody once told me, I think you were already a yogi in a past life and were
Hmm.
on the vegetarian path or whatever. I'm like, okay, yeah, if you say so.
Gotcha. Well, that's good. That's healthy. So I think being a vegetarian, you have a lot more energy in some ways because I think the eating meat kind of holds you back a little bit. I've heard that vegetarians are more energetic.
Yeah, I have seen it. Not with all vegetarians because it also depends on your state of mind, but
Yeah.
it does help to have a healthier conscious
Hmm.
because from some studies I've seen, plus what I've experienced
Yeah.
at the slaughterhouses before I became a vegetarian, the
Hmm.
vibe of the animals being sacrificed, tortured, and everything, all that energy is impregnated in the meat on
Right.
the vibrational level and on the physical. So I guess
Wow.
that's why a lot of people today are getting sick from eating so much beef. And doctors are even recommending some people not eat beef, red meat, or whatever because of the harm it's doing to people's bodies right now.
Right. That's true. Yeah. That's interesting. Now, living in Colombia, do you find it hard to find good vegetarian restaurants or entrees that are that have no meat when you go out in the towns?
Well, 20 years back, vegetarians were mostly plumb out of luck. Just had to eat
Yeah.
bananas and fruit along the way or carry their own thing. And
Yeah.
restaurants were not vegetarian friendly, basically. But today, in the big cities like Bogota, Cartagena, Medellin, Cali,
Yeah.
Pereira, all these
Yeah.
things, these places, Barranquilla, they
Uh-huh.
have a lot of healthier options now. And there are more vegetarian and even vegan restaurants popping up because more people in Colombia are turning to the healthy food lifestyle and yoga and all of these things.
Right. That's great. That kind of reminds me. There's another YouTube friend that I have who was just in Colombia. His name is Wander Nirvana, and he's also a vegetarian. He doesn't eat meat. And
Nice.
yeah, he was there. He's back in. He lives over in Venice, but he was over in Colombia. He was hanging out in I think Cartagena. He went to Santa Marta, and he did go to Medellin for a little while. But yeah, it's too bad you guys. Have you ever met other YouTubers while you were there in Colombia?
No, I'm still a baby YouTuber in diapers, and so I haven't really come across any YouTubers here. But I'm connecting with some on YouTube, talking to them, seeing
Oh,
if
that's
we
cool.
cross paths somewhere down
Yeah,
the line in Mexico.
yeah. Well, hopefully, if SSR ever is in the Medellin area, you guys should hook up. He's originally from Australia, but he's been living abroad. I think he was over in Thailand for a while too. And I guess you're going to be over. You're going to be traveling soon too. You're going to be going to Mexico soon, I hear.
Yeah, in June, I'm taking off in June. I've been in Colombia for way too long now. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful country, good
Right.
people in general, but you got some knuckleheads here and there. But Mexico's my destination. I'm just gonna start traveling for the rest of my life, as I
Oh,
telling
cool.
people recently, until I retire and
Yeah.
decide to settle down somewhere,
Uh
or I
huh.
check out of this body, whichever comes first.
I hear you. Well, hopefully you'll have many, many years of traveling. So how was it that I'm just kind of curious? How was it that one can afford to travel? You know, I think you said you teach English too. Do you teach English online mostly, or
Yeah, yeah. These days it's all online. This
yeah,
is one of the let's say good things that the this whole situation we're going through has
yeah,
given me, in
right,
addition to all the headaches and whatever. But all of my work is now online. I don't do any in-person classes anymore. So that's the freedom it has given me, that I can actually start traveling, working Monday through Friday as I'm doing now, and then travel vlogging on the weekends and in
cool.
between during the week, wherever I find myself.
That's cool. Yeah, SSR just put a comment in the chat. And he said he's heading in the opposite direction. He's going to Brazil. Ooh, that sounds risky. I know Brazil had a pretty big spike as far as COVID deaths. What do you
Yeah.
think out there, SSR? By the way, how is the COVID? Uh, how are the COVID cases going up in? Are they going up in Medellin or in Colombia, or is it kind of stabilizing for a little while? What's the situation
No,
like?
right now we're going through a spike, a serious spike.
Uh huh.
ICUs are at 92, 95% capacity in Medellin, Cali. I'm hearing right now since last week, Monday through Thursday, they have imposed a night curfew that
Oh
from
wow.
Monday night to Thursday morning, every day you can't go out between 8 p.m. and 5 a.m. And then Thursday night, 8 p.m. to Monday morning, 5 a.m. Nobody can go out for the whole weekend. No Friday, Saturday, Sunday outings. And
Wow.
only once per week, they got a thing here called Pico y Cédula. Pico means the peak, and
Yeah.
Cédula, it means the ID that is managed in Colombia, because Cédula is the main form of ID, not a driver's license, a
Uh huh.
cédula. Whether you have a license to drive or not, cédula. So the last digit of
Yeah.
your cédula, they have like 3 digits for each day. So you can go out on Monday or on a Tuesday or on a Wednesday or on a Thursday to do your food shopping and banking and
Yeah.
just stuff like that. And that's it. And then go back home. And they're
Right.
doing this like for the whole month, from what I'm hearing. This weekend, we can't go out anywhere here in Antioquia. Bogota has the same in many parts of the country.
Wow. And that's just to do the essential services. So they don't want people out there socializing basically. And
No,
yeah.
Colombians are very naughty, as one of my students told me,
Yeah.
because I mean, I'm Colombian American, so let's say I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
one in sense not being naughty, but being happy. Colombia is
Right.
considered to be in the top 5 happiest nations in the world in the
Oh
last
really?
10, 12 years. I've been reading these surveys. Costa
Uh-huh.
Rica is usually 1 or 2. Dominican Republic is in the top 5.
Yeah.
And since this is such a happy culture in general with the people,
Hmm.
people don't like to be cooped up. People want to go out. And a
Right.
lot of people are not, you know, really covering their faces, and they're going to parties,
Yeah.
nightclubs, and everything, and larger gatherings than normal. So we're going through the consequences now.
Right. That's really too bad. Geez. I mean, it kind of puts a damper on socializing, which is a bummer. But I think we'll all get through it. I think once we get the herd immunity and people get vaccinated, are they starting to vaccinate people in Colombia yet or no?
Yeah, but this is a poor country. This is a developing country.
Uh
And
huh.
right now they're just still going through the 70 and above age group. So it's going to be I mean, it's going to be a long time from now before they get to the, the 40s and the 30s in
Yeah.
terms of the age groups. I mean, it's going to be months.
Wow. You may have a better chance of getting vaccinated when you're in Mexico,
As
if
long as
possible.
they allow me. If they
Yeah.
don't have any restriction, I'll pay for it and get it. If not, in December, I'm flying up to Los Angeles, because I'm going to stay in Mexico for 6 months
Okay.
and all.
Yeah, yeah. So you're gonna come out to LA? That's where I live. Yeah, come out. We'll hang out, man. I'll
For
show you
sure. I was thinking about
Koreatown.
that.
Yeah, I live in Koreatown. We won't have any Korean barbecues because I know you're a vegetarian, but we'll find some good vegetarian restaurants to go to. So
Good. You live in what? Koreatown?
yeah, Koreatown, LA. Yeah. Have you ever been up to like Flushings, New York, where they have a Koreatown up there?
Oh, yeah. I used to go out there all the time on the 7 train. I lived in Queens, New York, right there in Woodside, New York, and in
Yeah, yeah.
Elmhurst. So we used to catch the 7 train all the time
Uh
to
huh.
go up to Flushing and to go to those places where they sold all those things, kind of like a swap meet in Los Angeles, but with
Yeah.
authentic stuff. I was even there 2 years ago with my friend. He's Filipino
Yeah.
and high school friend, not even high
Uh-huh.
school, all the way from elementary school. We've been friends since elementary, since
Really?
fifth grade when I arrived in New York. And
Wow.
we went to play pool over there in one of those
Mhm.
Korean or Thai, let's say, a basement billiard rooms,
Yeah.
bar place.
That's awesome. You must be a heck of a billiard player then. You must be good in pool.
Used to be, but here in Colombia, I don't play, but I was a good one in college in
Oh,
Georgia.
yeah. You were probably winning a lot of pool games and making a lot of people leave the night angry because they lost or whatever, huh?
Yeah, it was just my friends and I at the college
Okay.
game room
Yeah.
there on campus. We had
Okay.
fun, put some English on the ball, backspin and all.
There you go. That's good. That's awesome. That's awesome. Wow. So, what kind of activities, because of the way that the curfew is now and in Colombia, what do people? How do they enjoy themselves? What
That's
the
a good question. People are just Netflixing their butts off.
are they Netflixing? Huh?
I don't know. It just came up to me that word because, I'm like, well,
Yeah.
how can I say this in a way that sounds funny but real at the
Yeah.
same time? A lot of people
Right.
telling me they're just watching Netflix series and movies on Netflix, so they're Netflixing their weekends away because they can't go out on
Yeah.
Fridays, Saturdays, or Sundays. Only in
Yeah.
the countryside, we don't really have any kind of restriction because I could just go outside the country house here on the dirt
Yeah.
road and go walking with the dogs. And the police are not going to bother them. When they do pass by, they just look at you like whatever. But in the
Yeah.
cities and the big towns, they do crack down.
Do they really? Oh wow.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
get a fine, a
You
one
get
million peso fine. That's like $300, a $300
really.
fine
That's a
if
pretty
you
serious
violate.
amount of money. That's a pretty serious amount of money. So if you can't
Well,
pay that fine, will they take you to jail then? Is that the way it works?
nah, they don't have enough room for
Yeah.
putting up people in jail. I mean, Colombia has a lot of. I mean, even though it's a safe country these days compared to 20 years or 10 years ago, whatever,
Uh-huh.
still there's a lot of crime activity in the let's say the bad parts of town. So the jails are full of those people from those bad areas.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there a lot of gang activity in like the poor areas of Medellin? You think
Yeah,
or
just
really?
like in New York City, just like in LA,
Yeah. Yeah.
just like in Mumbai, India, where I was 2 years ago,
Oh,
or
you're in
Delhi.
Mumbai, huh?
Yeah, 2 years ago I was in India for 48 days. I loved
Oh
it.
wow. How did you like your staying in India?
I loved it. India saved my life. India
Really?
saved my life.
Really?
Yeah. Long story short, I was
Uh-huh.
pretty much in a bad place in 2018 towards the end. Some
Uh-huh.
family problems, uh, fighting with my dad and one of his sisters, and some shenanigans, and it really
Yeah.
took a toll on me mentally.
Oh wow.
And I didn't see any reason to stick around in this life. And I had already bought my ticket to go to India, my tickets and everything. And
Yeah.
what was going to be a happy trip turned out to be kind of like, let's just go to Varanasi in India, the
Yeah.
city of the dead, and
Uh-huh.
just drown myself in the Ganges River.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when I entered Indian airspace, all that melancholy and those plant and that plan to end
Mhm.
it all disappeared. I don't know. There's something about India that words cannot describe, and I
Mhm.
could just tell you that when we entered Indian airspace, that's how I see it. From
Yeah.
Qatar to Mumbai, I totally forgot about all these plans, all my melancholy, my depression, my no will to live, no hope, and whatever.
Wow.
And I don't know. I just clicked into happy mode, like I felt free, and I didn't realize it until I got to Varanasi, like 3 weeks later, 2.5 weeks later, 3 weeks later, that I was going to do that there. I'm like, oh my goodness, this country is crazy,
Yeah.
awesome.
Wow.
I wasn't feeling depressed, nothing, just happy, connected with the spiritual energy. And all the things that bothered me here in Colombia or in New York with the constant honking of horns and people disrespecting you on
Yeah.
a pedestrian crosswalk when you have the right of way. When I
Yeah.
was there, none of that affected me. I was just walking like I was, I don't know, on cloud nine or something,
Yeah.
seventh heaven.
I guess you have a different mindset over there. And it's spiritual. People, do you think they have a little bit more respect towards each other, and they're not? Um, I don't know. You don't have like the riffraff that goes on in the bigger cities, like here in the United States, even though they're pretty heavy populated.
Well, people think they're very overpopulated or very, very populated, but it's such a large country that you don't really see what
Yeah.
people sell you here in the West in the media.
Uh-huh.
The only times they do something like that, they photograph a train or a video when the trains are like mad crowded,
Yeah.
overcrowded. But
Yeah.
it's usually not like that. That's usually intercity trains when they go from one city to another, and only
Yeah.
at like one special time of the year when everybody's traveling and the poor are so poor that all they have to do is pay $1 to go between one city and another. In the
Wow.
last car where everybody's cramped up like a can of sardines.
Yeah. And they really have fun when they're doing that, huh? They don't. That's cool.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Dirty Lettuce is asking. She's saying, "Tell us about the cost of living in Colombia." Um,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
she wants to know. I guess how much do you think a person needs to survive on a monthly basis? Maybe would be a
Okay.
starter.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. Hi. How are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't need a lot of money unless you really want to live in an upscale area. But if you want to live the local experience in a nice, let's say middle class to lower middle class neighborhood, like a lower middle class
Mhm.
neighborhood, you can rent an apartment in some of these places here in Medellin, at least that I know in the countryside,
Yeah.
for about roughly $200 a month.
Really? That cheap, huh? That's a pretty inexpensive. Wow.
Yeah,
And then that would have like you would obviously you can have Wi-Fi and all that stuff and hot
yeah,
water. And yeah. Wow.
yeah,
And
yeah,
is it
yeah.
wow? That's pretty cool. Are the utilities pretty expensive in Colombia, like electricity or gas?
It all depends because here they have I don't know how it works in the States because I haven't lived there for a long time.
Uh huh.
They have what they call a strato, like a stratification level. They
Okay.
stratify it. So they got estrato uno, one is like the lowest, like dirt poor people, one
Uh
and
huh.
two. But three is what you normally find in the lower class neighborhoods and everything, 3 to 4,
Mm-hmm.
depending, and 5 and 6. 6 is like the high class, the rich. So if you're in a neighborhood that has a level 3 or level 4, then your utility bills are calculated on that.
Okay.
And it's really cheap compared to the States, anyhow. I mean, if you think about mobile data, you could get a plan for 25 gigabytes per month
Yeah.
mobile data with
Yeah.
Movistar or Tigo or Claro, these companies here, or Virgin Mobile,
Okay.
plus
Yeah.
unlimited minutes in Colombia to landlines and cell phones, and
Uh
unlimited
huh.
texts for 75,000 pesos. That's about $20 US, around
Oh
there,
wow.
$22.
Wow, that's pretty cheap. Yeah. That's really affordable. Yeah. Wow. And so the next question that she had was, um, the favorite what was your favorite country that you've lived in?
Well, I've only really lived in the States where I was born and raised,
Yeah.
and here in Colombia. And then, if you want to call it my 48-day adventure in India, living
Uh-huh.
there, I say, yeah. I
Okay.
gotta say, so far, Colombia. I mean, each country has its beautiful thing. I mean, I grew up in South Carolina. I loved it as a
Yeah.
kid. I really loved it.
Mhm.
Southern boy and everything, hee haw,
Yeah.
country music, 80s, and all of that. When I was a kid in South Carolina, I enjoyed it all. Living in a semi-rural area, all that stuff. Treehouse, playing with
Yeah.
your friends, and going trick or treating, going to the arcade on the
Right.
bikes, and saving up all the quarters. And then I went to New York City as a teenager. It was the school of
Uh-huh.
hard knocks, but I had
Yeah.
some good things to take away from New York City: the
Yeah.
summers, hip hop, music, and all of that. And going to Rockaway Beach in Queens,
Oh
and
wow.
Great Adventure, Six Flags in New Jersey in the summertime. So it was good, It was nice. In
So let me ask you.
Colombia,
Yeah.
yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, and Colombia was awesome because I came
Uh-huh.
here when I was 23 years old, and I
Yeah.
got to fall in love with the music, like Spanish rock. With the biggest, one of the biggest groups was Soda Stereo from Argentina, top
Soda Stereo.
notch.
Oh yeah. I love
Wow,
that group.
that
Yeah.
music. Yeah, me too.
Oh yeah.
Classic. And I was partying here, having fun with my
Yeah.
friends from work because I worked at an English language institute. So we were
Uh-huh.
always hanging out, speaking in English and whatever. and going to the bars and going to las fincas. Here, las fincas is like this. This is where I live. People call this a finca, a country house, but
Yeah.
they say finca like if it were a farm.
Yeah.
And we used to go to las fincas on the weekends, drinking, partying, spending the night there. So,
Yeah.
you know, it was good. And people here are so nice in general, at least in Antioquia that I know, and the Colombian coast like Cartagena and Barranquilla. Bogota is a different situation. Since it's higher, it's colder, it's a big city.
Yeah.
People tend to be a little mix of cranky, grumpy, and sometimes happy.
Yeah. I guess the altitude changes their mood set a little bit, huh?
Oh,
Yeah.
just like New York and New Jersey in the winter. You ask somebody, "Hey, how's your day? Beautiful day, right?" Well, they say, "Yeah, what's so good about it?" In the winter. But in the summertime, then the New Yorker, "Yeah, it's nice, brother. It's pretty good. What do you want to do?" Stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah. Hey, were you in New York when before Times Square is what it is now? Do you remember how old Times Square used to be? It was a pretty sketchy area, wasn't it? Port Authority and all.
I mean, Port Authority with the hookers there and all of that,
That
and
was a
Times
crazy.
Square right there. It was. I mean, I used to go there because they used to have the arcade video game places in '84 and '85 when I was 12 and 13 and 14 years old. And I remember I had a gold chain and a gold bracelet, and I went with my friends from Queens, some kids that were from India, Pakistan, Dominican Republic, Irish American, and my brother and I, and we were hanging out, a group, and my brother was getting robbed by a guy. I mean, I was getting robbed by this dude that came up to me. This African American came up to me. No, nothing against African Americans. I'm just giving the details. You could get robbed by a Latino there, or a white guy, or a yellow dude, or a Martian, whatever.
Yeah.
But it was just an African American man, like 30 years old, approached me, long trench coat, and you know we were stupid, and it was Times Square, and we were cutting school that day. We were skipping school, and it was in broad daylight, like around 11 a.m. because we went to play video games at the arcades at that time, which they don't exist now. And it was nothing like today. And I got robbed. The guy branded a big knife, a big like hunting knife, and brandished it. And then there was another guy backing him up. And my brother was like, "Hey, what's happening? What's happening?" I said, "Relax, relax." And he saw that I was getting robbed. My little brother was like 11 and I was 13.
Wow.
And I just gave him my stuff, and he said, "If you try to do anything funny, you see that guy over there? He'll stick your brother or whatever." I'm like, "Okay."
Damn, that's crazy. Yeah, that's a real New York story, man. Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, did you ever?
That was my only bad story.
Yeah. Did you ever read the book Run Baby Run? That's a classic New York. Did you ever read that book?
No, I didn't get to it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was back in the 70s. But yeah, I heard that like in the 70s, the gangs that was like the worst time period for New York was like the 70s. Yeah, they had some really. I think there was a lot of more gang stuff going on back then. Let's see. Dirty Lettuce asks you, what advice would you give to those who wish to live the expat lifestyle?
Well, every Friday, except for these times now, because I haven't been able to go out and make new vlogs in the city of Medellin and whatever, I post a video on my channel about things for expats and digital nomads.
Yeah.
But if you want to live it here, healthcare is awesome here. I mean, healthcare, the prices compared to the States is much better, and the quality is very good. Dental care, healthcare.
Wow.
A lot of expats, I read an article last year, I can't remember from what website, and it said that a lot of expats are considering Colombia over Costa Rica and Panama as a place to live here, and even pensioners, because of the weather. Medellin, because it's good for the arthritis and joint pain because it's always warm. It's called the city of eternal spring. Medellin, la ciudad de la eterna primavera.
Wow. And what's the average temperature in Medellin? Is it like, what temperature is it usually around all year round?
75 to 85. Sometimes it goes up to 90.
Wow, that's awesome. And how cold does it get at night?
Usually doesn't go below 60 if you're at the bottom part of the valley, because Medellin is in a valley, a small valley, and you have poblado, like where the rich people live on the higher parts. Then the temperature at night is going to be colder because it's higher up, a lot of
Yeah.
tree vegetation area, not
Yeah.
as concrete jungle as the bottom of the city. If you're in Laureles, I have a couple of videos about Laureles where a lot of digital nomads from the States, Canada, and other countries, European countries right now,
Yeah.
they prefer to go to Laureles than to live in El Poblado as digital nomads or expats because the cost of living is cheaper and it's less touristy and more of the local experience and good restaurants, good coffee nomad, digital nomad shops, coffee shops, cafes,
Wow.
and good restaurants, good nightlife too, very calm and none of that prostitution stuff that Parque Lleras recently in the last few years has
Yeah.
become. I used to party at Lleras Park a lot, but that's a different story, and it was way different from what it is now.
Oh wow, that's crazy. Wow.
But
Yeah,
the
I know.
expat life is doable here. It's doable. I mean,
So
if you're making your money online, like as a digital nomad or whatever, you
yeah,
can
yeah.
live in Medellin very nicely. And food prices, all you got to go is to one of the Plaza de Mercados,
Uh-huh.
and you get the fruit and vegetables and grains and
Yeah.
meats and whatever for the lowest prices instead of paying higher prices at Éxito or Carulla, which are the brand name chains of
Uh,
supermarkets in Colombia.
wow. Um, effing here. I got. Hold on a second, because we're effing a little bit. I noticed that we're buffering. I don't know why. I was going to ask you. Because you grew up in the United States and living in Colombia, do people know that you're not from around, or that like you're not Colombian? I mean, like, you grew up in the United States. Can they tell that in your accent when you speak Spanish?
Well, at the beginning, when I came here, I had a very heavy American accent in my
Yeah.
Spanish, even though I spoke Spanish since I was a child because my mom and dad are Colombian
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
everything. And we were born in the States. But I spoke Spanish, but it was with a heavy American accent. And
Oh
people
yeah.
used to tell me that when people ask you, where are you from? Don't say you're from the States. Say you're from Peru or Ecuador. Say you're from South Colombia, where
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
speak differently from the Paisas. And people
Yeah.
used to say, no, 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 you're not from there. Your accent sounds American in Spanish. I'm like, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Oh really? They say you're not from there, huh? They can tell that you're not from there. Huh? Oh my gosh,
You
that's
know, the way I
interesting. Wow.
dress, the way I walk, my
Yeah.
appearance these days, because I spend a lot of time under the sun, so my skin is a little more tanned now
Yeah.
after 23 years of living here. But when I
Yeah.
came at the beginning, I was pretty much a white boy with the white boy
Yeah.
look, you
Yeah.
know.
They could spot you out from a crowd, huh?
Oh yeah, it was easy, you know, it was pretty
Yeah.
easy. El gringo, nah, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
El gringo.
So, well, let me ask you: when in living in Medellin as an expat, for example, do you think it would be very you have to be very careful of safety, and and not to get robbed or anything, or crime? What do you think about that?
Medellin is pretty safe these days compared to when I got here and when I used to come here on vacation during the Pablo Escobar, Rodriguez Gacha drug cartel days
Uh
and
huh.
everything. I mean, just like any city in the US or in the world, in England or Europe, it's going to
Hmm.
have its bad neighborhoods, its shady spots. And if you
Yeah.
find yourself walking through an area like that, then your chances of getting robbed or beat up, go up high. Like in Los
Right.
Angeles, if you go to like Crenshaw or South Central LA. I don't
Yep.
know how it is today, but when I used to go there, I used to
Yeah.
see what was going on. So if you're in the wrong part of town at the wrong time and
Yep.
being an idiot, then you can increase your chances of getting robbed or
That's
beat
true.
up.
Right. That's true. Yeah.
Here's the same
Um.
thing. I put up two videos recently this
Uh
year
huh.
about places to stay out of if you're a nervous wreck
Yeah.
or afraid of getting, robbed. So you can avoid that. But if you're fearless like me, then no problem. Just go. But as they say in Spanish, in Colombia, here in Medellin,
Yeah.
no de papaya. Don't expose yourself. Don't give people a chance by
Yeah.
looking at a place or having your camera or your iPhone out because then you're
Yeah.
attracting all the wrong attention quickly.
So in other words, you can't walk around with like a DSLR camera walking around filming, and got to be very careful. I know you use a GoPro when you do your vlogs, right? You use your
Yeah, I use
GoPro.
a GoPro. I don't even want to buy one of those DSL. They're very
Yeah,
nice, but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
a GoPro is better in so many ways,
Right.
not in all ways. But
Yeah.
I mean, you can do the DSL camera, those nice cams. You can use it in El Poblado, whatever, even in Laureles, in certain parts of Medellin or Bogota.
Uh,
But you have to be careful that here the main form of transportation is on motorcycle, and
yeah.
sometimes two motorcyclists are on a motorcycle, the rider and
Yeah.
the passenger. They call the
Yeah.
passenger parrillero, like a
Uh-huh.
grill,
Yeah.
parrillero. And then
Uh-huh.
they pass by and they're looking for a victim that is, just showing their phone, like talking like this or doing like this. And if they
Yeah.
see it's a smartphone, a good one, they pass by on a motorbike right next to you or even on the sidewalk, snatch it, and they disappear. And you don't have time, not even to get a license plate.
Wow. That's that quick, huh? Now, is it against the law for two people to ride on a motorbike in some cities in Colombia or no?
Yeah, they have been in some places against the law for a time. Sometimes
Yeah.
they take off the law. It was like against the law here to do that
Yeah.
in Medellin because for many years in some areas of the robberies or the hitmen
Uh-huh.
when they were carrying out a contract on
Yeah.
somebody,
Wow.
and the police did that for some time. But right now, it's not illegal in Medellin. Like I said,
Wow.
Medellin is very safe right now.
Yeah.
It's not
That's
like it
good.
was before, and
That's
especially
good.
for foreigners. I mean, if you're a foreigner and you're hanging out with the wrong bunch, then your
Yeah.
chances of getting hurt, robbed, or killed go up if you're hanging out with some shady characters. But if you're hanging out with good people in a good place, the chances of something bad happening to you are as low as can be.
Yeah. That kind of reminds me of that boxer that got killed over in Puerto Rico. Um, I forgot his name. You probably know who I'm talking about. He's from New York. The one that's about 50. He was hanging out with the wrong crowd in Puerto Rico. He was addicted to cocaine. You know what I'm talking about. I forget the guy's name. Um,
No, I don't really remember because I don't follow much of the news anymore these days, except for the last
yeah.
12
He,
months with this whole situation.
yeah, yeah. I think he fought against Sugar Ray too. He was in that category. He was a
Sugar
but
Ray
anyway,
Floyd,
no, Sugar Ray Leonard back in the day. That was back in
excuse me,
the
Leonard. I'm
yeah,
getting mixed up with
yeah.
Pink
That's
Floyd here.
okay. Yeah,
It's been a hard week. It's been a
yeah,
hard week over here.
yeah. Here. Very
Sugar Ray
last,
Leonard.
very important question for the men in this chat. Do all the Colombian women look like Sofia Vergara?
No, no, you got some
Oh,
that look like Ren and Stimpy or Beavis and Butthead. Sorry, no, no, you got all kinds of women, but where you find usually the most beautiful looking women, you
yeah,
find them, let's say in here in Antioquia, this state, the
yeah,
state of Risaralda, where Manizales and Pereira and Armenia are located. Three
yeah.
cities. That's like the tri-state area,
Uh
like
huh.
in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut.
Uh
You
huh.
got these cities, Armenia, Pereira, Manizales. They have
Okay.
pretty pretty girls there. Cali,
Yeah.
the whole Cali area also has beautiful women. A lot of
Really?
beautiful women, a different mix from the
Wow.
Paisa women. Those are las
Wow.
caleñas. There's a song. Las caleñas son como las flores, se visten
Yeah.
de mil colores. Las
Uh huh.
caleñas, meaning the Cali women, are like flowers. They dress in 1,000 colors.
Uh huh. Oh wow. That's a cool
And in
song. Is
the
that
coast,
yeah?
yeah,
And the coast too. And so they're all over. I mean, it depends on which state in Colombia that you're at.
yeah.
They're everywhere.
The women in Bogota don't have a good reputation of being pretty. In that state of Bogota, Santander,
Yeah.
and whatever.
Really?
From the people that tell me and from what I've seen, they're not that
Yeah.
pretty. I've been to Bogota like 7 times in the
Yeah.
last 10 years.
Uh huh.
And no, unless they're from other places in Colombia. And of course, you got beautiful women, La Costa Colombiana, Caribeña,
Uh huh.
Cartagena, Barranquilla,
Yeah.
Tolu, Santa Marta. You have some beautiful women
Yeah.
coming from around there too.
Yeah. There was I had that guy that was mentioning to you about Wanda Nirvana. He was in Cartagena and he was with two girls, and one of the girls he was live streaming at the time, and so he was talking to one of the girls. One was on one side, and the other one was on the other side, and so he had his camera facing him and the other girl, and she obviously she forgot that he was live streaming, and she like slipped him something in his drink, and
Holy mackerel.
yeah, I was like, whoa, she actually did that. I mean, does she know that she's on camera? But Yeah, it was. I was just amazed. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. That was in Cartagena, I think. Yeah. So you have to
And
be
what
careful
happened
there.
to him?
I think I think he may have gotten his iPhone stolen or something like that, but he survived it. I've heard horror stories of people getting roofied really bad and having their money taken out of their bank accounts, and they've gone to their hotel rooms or wherever they stayed at and have their electronic devices stolen. Yeah, it's you got to be very careful.
Well, that's because in the defense of Colombian women,
Yeah,
that situation, I mean, probably the guy just met him somewhere in those touristy areas where
yeah,
those type of girls, not all
yeah,
Colombian women, just those that are looking for victims,
yeah.
and that's their job. They're looking for victims to
Yep.
rob because
Yeah.
they know that a lot of guys are coming from abroad, from the States, Canada, Europe, and other
Yep.
countries just to have a little fun with some girls, and then you pay the price
Yeah.
if I mean, if this happens to you, but if you go to other areas here and you stay for a good while, then you're
Yeah.
bound to meet some really decent, down to earth, wholesome girls, home
Yeah.
like, and not the kind that wandering nirvana got. He got
Yeah.
his he got
You got
sideswiped there.
you got to be careful. Yeah. Hey, do you think it's if you were interested in meeting a girl, like say for example for the single guys, if you were interested in meeting a girl in Colombia, do you think it would be safe to go on Tinder and look for girls, or how would be the best way to meet girls?
Since I'm old school, and I mean old school,
Yeah.
I don't really do any of those dating website application things or those
Yeah.
things. I would just recommend if you're going to be here for a good time, you got to network with people, meet people, talk to people. What's
Yeah.
one of the best ways? You go to the gym, nice gyms, and you make
Uh-huh.
friends.
Yeah.
And also, you go and study Spanish at
Uh-huh.
a university, and then you can talk to the teacher and whatever, and then teacher can,
Yeah.
introduce you to some people from that are cool and not those other ones that you're going to find at the bar locales or
Yeah.
nightclub situations that like the Houdini song, the freaks come out at night, and if you're doing
The
that, then
freaks
you're
come
going
out
to
now.
be hitting up freaks and not good girls.
That's true. Yeah, you're right. I think that's a very important word of advice. Dirty Lettuce wants to know how old are you? You look like you're in your 30s. So
Me?
yeah.
Thanks. No, I'm 48 and going on 49.
Oh,
Almost,
are
as they
you?
say in Colombia, about to hit the fifth floor. In
The
Colombia, they say,
fifth?
"Oh, vas pa'l quinto piso." You're going to the fifth floor.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's interesting. They have a lot of interesting sayings in Colombia. It's very funny. I think in Spanish it sounds so funny, but in English it probably doesn't sound as funny. But in Spanish it's very humorous.
Uh,
You know?
yeah. In English, I mean, in American English, you say, "Oh, buddy, you're getting older." I'm
Yeah.
like, that's my ID card or my birth certificate, not me. I'm young at
Yeah.
heart.
Exactly. Exactly. That's great. Yeah. So, do you
Yeah.
think it's possible for foreigners to actually possibly meet a nice woman in Colombia and you know end up getting married or having a serious relationship? I think it's pretty possible.
Hey,
What do you think?
I'm a foreigner. I mean, I was
Yeah.
born and raised in the States. I'm
Yeah.
not Colombian per se, that I grew up here, that I went to school here. I didn't have any of that. And I
Yeah.
came here as a foreigner, even though my
Uh-huh.
mom and dad are Colombian, but I was born
Right.
and raised in the States with a
Yeah.
Southern boy mentality. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, being courteous, being honest, hardworking, and all that. And I
Yeah.
came here and I started working at an institute teaching English. Oh, that's a piece of advice. If you want to
Yeah.
really live the life and really meet cool people and
Yeah.
not those shady girls or shady dudes in
Yeah.
those touristy areas and bars and nightclubs,
Yeah.
as they say in the States, if you want to meet a good girl, you go to church. You don't go to the bar, local bar or
Yeah.
nightclub.
Yeah.
Usually, that's what they say back in
Yeah.
the day. So go get a teaching certificate
Yeah.
and to teach English, a
Mhm.
certificate that is good internationally. And then
Yeah.
you could come and live the expat life here. And you can meet, if you're a girl, you can meet guys,
Yeah.
students, and you probably meet a good one, a nice, because people that study English, it's because they have money usually. You just got to work at a good place like at EAFIT Language Center. This is a top university in Colombia and here in Medellin. Or you
Uh-huh.
work for the Colombo Americano, which is an American run and based language center for English. So
Uh-huh.
this is the way, I mean, I met my girlfriend here. I mean, I don't have a girlfriend anymore, but we
Yeah.
were together for 4 years.
Wow.
and she was not my student, but she was a student at the place I worked,
Mm-hmm.
and we had a very beautiful run, 4 years and some change. We were going to get married. I
Oh
bought an
wow.
apartment here and all of that, but then as everything must come to an end sooner or later.
Yeah. Well, are you guys? Are you still? Do you still remain friends with her then? You guys are engaged.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's good.
right now I'm teaching her and her husband online.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Sometimes friendships
Yeah,
last longer than the actual, kind of love relationship, which is
yeah,
good, you know.
yeah,
That's cool. So you're teaching her and her husband online, huh? That's cool.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Teaching them online.
Yeah.
And this is the thing, you can find a good gal or a good guy here in Colombia.
Hmm.
Just avoid trying to find them at the local discotheque, as they say here, nightclub or
Yeah.
bar. I mean, I'm not saying that it can't work. It's just not that viable in general, not that feasible.
Yeah. So you're saying Parque Yaras or that place would not be a good place to go out to look for, dates or whatever, because there's a lot of prostitution going on over there.
I mean, like I said on my video,
Yeah.
that video that I posted about that,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not promoting prostitution, any of that, because I'm
Yeah.
not into that.
Yeah.
If that's your fetish to a person,
Yeah. Go for it.
you know,
Whatever floats your
but if
boat.
you
Yeah.
just want, right? But if you want to have a cooler time and not into that kind of vibe, because if you're looking for those type of situations, then you're exposing yourself, dando papaya, to get robbed,
Yep.
to get a Mickey
Right.
slipped. They'll
Yep.
slip you a Mickey. Or they sometimes use on the locals, but I haven't heard it about the foreigners,
Yeah.
scopolamine, what the Germans used
Oh
in
yeah.
World War II to
Oh yeah.
interrogate their prisoners.
Wow.
Scopolamine, and they've used it here, but on the locals over the years. My uncle was a victim of that,
Oh
and he
really?
had the after effect for like 2 days. He was like gone, like a dodo bird.
Oh really? Oh wow. So you're actually physically can function, but you're just mentally gone because of the drug, huh? That's
Yeah,
crazy.
because then they tell you, let's go, open your wallet, let's go to the ATM,
Right.
punch in the code, PIN number, blah blah blah, take out
Oh
as
my
much
God.
money as you can. Let's go to your apartment or your hotel
Mhm.
room, and that's what they do. But it's very, very super
Yeah.
uncommon that a foreigner gets scopolamine. Maybe a Mickey like wandering Nirvana, but
Yeah. 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 You got to
yeah,
be careful. You just have to have your street smarts with you. Yeah. Just be cautious. Yeah. I don't. I think anywhere around the world, if you're looking for trouble, you'll find it. It's easy to find, especially if you hang out at the wrong place, wrong people. Yeah. Those are
yeah.
good. Those are good words
23
of advice.
years. I've been here for 23 years and I've loved it in general.
Yeah.
I was here towards the end after Pablo Escobar got killed in
Yeah. Yeah.
93 and all of that. I came here in 95 to live here, late
Wow.
95.
Yeah.
And then the fortification of the guerrilla groups, when they started doing the thing, the FARC, ELN, and all of that,
Yeah.
kidnapping people on the roads in Colombia was unsafe. No,
Wow.
all Colombians in general were afraid to go out of the city perimeters. Nobody was going into the countryside because they were afraid of getting kidnapped, because that was happening. The guerrillas were kidnapping people and asking for ransoms and everything,
Wow.
because they were kidnapping as many people as they could. And then
Yeah.
Mr. Uribe came in. And through all that, I've had a good time here. There were some difficult times and then some good times. But personally, I never had any big problems except for
Hmm.
once or twice in downtown Medellin getting robbed. But I had a choice: fight and maybe hurt two of them or get killed. And I say,
Hmm.
I exposed myself. I was an idiot. I should have
Yeah.
known better. And I said, okay, here you go. But it was not that they were pointing a gun at me. It was just like three guys intimidating, three little guys, not three guys burgers or
Yeah.
five guys burgers.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, it's a good
Yeah.
country. It's beautiful. The people are nice. I do recommend it. People come here. It's not like people paint it a backwards country. Medellin is considered probably the most modern city in all of Latin America, and
Yeah.
they're on the road to becoming the number one digital city, like
Hmm.
digitalized in all of South America, Latin America,
Yeah.
and that's the program they're doing. And Colombia is very good. Bogota, Medellin, Barranquilla, Cartagena, Cali, good places.
Yeah.
Armenia, Pereira.
That's awesome. Wow, that's good to hear that. Hey, let me ask you something. Do you watch any of the Colombian telenovelas?
I gave up that with my last girlfriend. And we broke up back in 2000. I think it was 2002 or 2000. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
something like that.
Yeah.
And the last ones I watched were Betty La Fea, Betty the
Pedro.
Ugly One,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Ugly Betty, or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Pedro
Pobre
Escamoso?
Pablo. I
Yeah.
watched a little bit of Pedro el Escamoso, a little bit, and
Yeah. Is he
it was
still
because of
famous?
my ex-girlfriend.
Oh yeah,
What?
is he still famous actor in Colombia? The guy that played that part?
I don't know. I disconnected from Colombian TV back in 2003.
He did. Okay, good. Okay, that's good. Now you're more into YouTube, right? Which is cool.
Oh yeah, YouTube. I love it. I never thought I would be a YouTuber, and here I am, a YouTuber, a baby YouTuber in diapers, going on my first year of the two channels in May,
Yeah.
and
You've got,
getting.
yeah, that's right. You've got two channels, right? You have one that's teaching English on it's an English teaching channel, right? And then you
Well,
have
that's the third one, but that one I recently abandoned
oh, you did.
because it
Oh,
was just having no traffic, no movement. But I have two that I started before that one back in May of last year. One is the one in English, Traveling Eddie,
yeah.
and the other one is Eddie Viajero in Spanish. But sometimes the videos come out in English and Spanish because I only have time to make one video, and I speak in both languages.
Oh
So I have
wow.
one for the Spanish speaking audience and the other one for the English speaking audience.
So the other one's called Eddie
The one in Spanish is
Viajero.
called Eddie Viajero. I spell it
Viajero.
differently in Spanish, Eddy, because if I spell it like in English, people will pronounce it in Spanish as they read it. And they would not say Eddie, they would say Eddie,
Oh,
Eddie.
Eddie. Oh, okay, I got you.
And yeah, it was a funny thing. People used to ask me for my name at the beginning when I started teaching English here in '96. And they say,
Yeah.
"What's your name, teacher?" I said, Eddie. What? Eddie. I would write it on the board.
Uh huh.
Oh, Eddie. I'm like, no, Eddie. And it was Eddie, but it's Eddie. I'm like, just call me Edwin after 6 months.
Oh wow. Is there an actual name in Spanish that's pronounced that way? Eddie? Is that a girl's name or something? Or why do they pronounce it
And,
that way?
yeah, some people used to tell me, but that's a girl's name, Edwin. Teacher,
Yeah.
teacher. That's a girl's name.
Eddie.
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 Or
Uh-huh.
even Eddie, because Eddie is a girl's name here. Eddie,
Oh,
an older generation girl's name. I'm like,
oh really?
no, it's a guy's name in the States.
Yeah, it's short for Edwin or Edward. Yeah, that's interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
It's yeah. So how is it? Do you find it that a lot of Colombians do speak English though, because you've been teaching English?
No, most Colombians don't speak English.
They don't.
Colombia has one of the lowest proficiency rates in English in all of Latin America.
Really? Oh,
Mexico is higher, and I don't
yeah.
know what else. Venezuela's higher or something, but Colombia is not in the top five. They're
Really?
probably like cellar dwellers here.
Oh, really? So that means if you go to Colombia, then you should really brush up on and learn the basic Spanish, right? What do you
Yeah,
think of basically how to order food or ask how much it is and stuff like that?
yeah.
Obviously, thank
Asking
you.
for directions.
Yeah,
How do I get this way? How much
yeah,
does it cost?
yeah,
What the stuff that you want to ask in present simple, basically,
yeah,
and maybe a little future stuff
yeah.
in Spanish.
Hmm.
Basic survival Spanish would be good
Exactly.
because don't
Right.
expect a lot of people to speak English. They were like,
Yeah.
qué pena, yo no speak English.
I don't speak English. Do you think that if they even speak English, they probably don't want to speak it because they're embarrassed to speak it and make fun,
This
or
is
you?
the problem
Uh, they're
here in
shy.
Antioquia.
Yeah,
In Antioquia, they're shy, and many are like perfectionists. And if they don't feel they can speak super good English like an American or British person or whatever,
yeah,
they won't normally speak. I used to have that all the time in my classroom situation when I was doing in-person classes at the institutes with
yeah,
companies, or at the institute with a mix of high school, university, and professional students and
yeah.
whatever. And sometimes, no, teacher, yo no quiero hablar. I don't want to speak. So I'm like, what the hell are you here for?
That's true. Yeah,
No,
I
I
can.
didn't say that. I was like,
That's
okay.
funny. That reminds me of my experience when I was teaching English in Mexico City, and I had these guys that were working for Bancomer. They were like, I think they were like kind of stockbrokers. Well, anyway, they didn't want to stay in the classroom. They wanted to go and hit the bars. I'm like, okay, well, if you want to go hit the bars, let's go hit the bars. But we're going to be practicing English while we're in the bars. You're not going to be speaking Spanish. It's like, okay, whatever. But yeah, they were kind of like the company's paying for it anyway, so I don't really care, either way. But I'm like, okay, well, it's up to you guys.
Yeah,
I get paid
yeah,
whether or not you want to learn or not. So, but
yeah.
yeah, that's cool though. That's interesting to know that it would be good to learn Spanish before you go to Colombia. Is there anything else that you want to say about if you were thinking about traveling or moving to Colombia? What other advice would you mention?
Well, basically, like I said before, get a teaching certificate if you feel you want to teach English. It's a good way to make money here in Colombia, in the
Yeah.
big cities, Bogota, Medellin, whatever, Cali,
Mhm.
Barranquilla, Pereira, and work for an institute because they do require that today you have a certificate for
Okay.
teaching English. You can't just come in, oh, I'm an English native speaker, so I can
Yeah.
teach English. No, do you have a certificate?
Right.
That's it. And
So
other
you got to
places require that you have a certificate and a professional degree,
okay.
that you have a degree from a university in the States in
Yeah.
whatever field. This doesn't matter if it's in cooking, whatever, but you have a degree,
Right.
and that's it. And Colombia is a beautiful place. Just don't believe all the negative hype you hear.
Yeah.
Um, Learn some basic Spanish because, I mean, you want to be able to communicate with people. People here are so kind in general in most places, and it would be a shame that you don't make an effort to learn some Spanish before coming this way so that you can at least have some basic, simple conversations. And if
Yeah.
you really make good friends and want to stay longer, then you can improve your Spanish by speaking to people here with what you already know. And
Yeah.
make sure you scout out the areas you want to live in. Most areas are super safe. Always
Yeah.
ask people, the local people, what areas do you recommend I can live in, whether it be
Mhm.
Medellin, Bogota, or Cali, or Barranquilla, Cartagena.
Yeah.
And Colombia is a great country. I mean, it's not on the top list for travelers because in 2019, only 4.5 million came.
Oh wow.
Colombia has only been increasing slowly, like
Yeah.
from 1.5 to 1.8 to 2 million. And
Yeah.
because it had such a negative, uh, let's say, reputation with the cartels and the insurgency movements
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But it is an awesome country to be. I've been here long enough, and people say, "So why are you leaving?" I've been here long enough. I want to
Yeah.
travel the world. I
Right.
want to go to Mexico and stay there for 18 months now because India is my final destination. I love that place, but I'm going to be in Mexico for 18 months and hopping in and out every 6 months and go to the States, visit my brother, go to California, hook up with Kevin, and so we can have a Kevin can have a normal cocktail and I can have a virgin cocktail and all that.
All right.
Shoot the breeze.
That's cool. You don't drink, so you don't drink then, huh?
No, I gave up drinking back
That's
in
cool.
2013
That's
as
awesome.
well.
So yeah, good for you. So you don't have any. So what vices do you have right now? What is the bad thing that you do?
Too much YouTubing, making videos and everything and watching videos. I don't consider it a vice, but some people would. I mean, I love traveling. That's my passion. That's my addiction, traveling.
Yeah.
And I added in the last year vlogging to travel vlogging, because I love sharing my experiences with people and
Yeah.
showing people the good, the bad, and a little bit of the ugly in terms of recommendations to stay away from. But most of my videos, 95, 98% are good stuff about restaurants, about places to go hiking, mountain biking, in India, hiking here. And what I'm going to do in Mexico is the same. Show
That's
people
cool.
about places
Yeah.
to stay, contact information for hotels, hostels. That's my vice.
That's good. Well, you guys, please check out Eddie's channel, Traveling with Eddie. And then if you want to see it with Spanish and English, it's Eddie Viajero, right? But it's EDDY. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But Eddie, we thank you so much for joining us today. You're an awesome guy. You got the whole the world is your oyster, so to speak, because I see you have future travels ahead of you. You're very knowledgeable about Colombia. You've been there for 23 years, you said, right? Or more than
23
20?
years. 23 years with a 2 year break when I went to Jersey. But yes.
That is so awesome. That's so awesome. And we actually are talking to Eddie right out in the countryside. It's not, we're not in
Yep.
you're not in Medellin, so you can see the nice,
No.
beautiful countryside of Colombia. See how rich the vegetation is, how plush and everything. Very chill, very nice. And what's the temperature right now, Eddie?
Well, here in Guarne, I live
Yeah.
in Guarne.
Uh huh.
The and higher up in the mountain here, probably 70 degrees
Wow,
Fahrenheit.
that's awesome. That's not too hot. That's comfortable. Yeah, it's
Yeah, if
good.
you don't like too hot, this is the place, or Rio
Really?
Negro. If you want
Wow.
warmer, you go down to Medellin because the elevation is much lower.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, and and foreigners are able to buy property in Colombia and build houses or buy houses. They're allowed to buy,
From
like, say for example, if an American moves to Colombia, they can buy property or a house.
Yes, as long as they show the legitimate bank account statements, money, then
Yeah.
they can give them what they call cédula de extranjería.
Uh huh.
That's like a resident visa, alien resident card in the
Wow.
States,
Uh huh.
the green card,
Yeah.
and that's cédula extranjería, and then you can buy property. I have a video I posted this week about a nice place that they're developing that's out in El Retiro, which is 45 minutes from Medellin. Very
Yeah.
nice in the countryside.
That's the one I saw that had that heavy rainstorm in the gym and everything. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
That looked like a really nice place. How much would that place go for, you think?
Well, they start off selling parcels of land
Yeah.
between 2,000 square meters to
Uh huh.
5,000 square meters, and the starting price for that small piece of land,
Yeah.
parcel of land, is $104,000 at this moment with the current exchange rate. Remember, if you're
Okay.
going to come to Colombia, the dollar's always fluctuating, so you get
Yeah.
more or less for your dollar. But right
Right.
now, it's $104,000 for the piece of land, and
Really.
then what it will cost you to build up a house could be another, let's say, $100,000
Yeah.
for a nice house,
Yeah.
or 150, and you get a very nice house built there, and it's a
Wow.
gated community with
That's
its own
awesome.
gym, like you saw in the video, an
Yeah.
old
Yeah.
coffee shop, and sauna, steam room, jacuzzi, everything.
Wow. That is great. Yeah. So there is a time difference between here where I'm at. I'm on Pacific time. So you're what, 2 hours ahead, right? It is right
Yeah.
now. It is now 9:49, almost a little bit before 10 your time,
Yep.
right? 10 a.m. Okay.
Yeah, I forgot
So
what you call it. Is this Central Time or what? Because it's 1 hour behind East Coast time.
okay. Do you ever change the hours in Colombia too, like here for daylight savings time?
Oh, heck no. No
No.
daylight savings time here. It's always the same time all the time.
Oh, that's cool. That is cool. So basically, it'll vary from 1 hour to 2 hours difference then, based on the because we have daylight savings time in the United States with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of sucks. Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to remember that time
Here,
difference.
you're always going to have sunrise here on the mountains, seeing the
Yeah,
sunrise at about
yeah.
5:30 in the morning. Between
Uh-huh.
5:25 and 5:45, you'll have mountain sunrise
Oh,
all the
nice.
time. It'll never change. That's the
Yeah,
variable, the range. And sunset here in the mountains, somewhere around 6:10, 6:30.
yeah. Oh, wow. 6:30 is the sunset, huh? Wow,
Yeah, around there. Yep.
that's beautiful. Wow. Well, hey, again, Eddie, thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to go ahead
I
and
appreciate it.
2 thumbs up, guys, and please subscribe to Traveling with Eddie. And we're
Yeah.
going to go ahead and end the stream now. But Eddie, you can stay on with me. But thanks, guys,
Yes, sir.
for hanging out with me. Okay. Have a great
Take
day,
care,
guys.
guys.
See
Many
ya.
blessings. Jai.
Okay. Bye. Ciao.